Hello and welcome to the road to Avengers Endgame. Finally decided on a title for this thing. I was thinking not to use that title because there's already the road to episode 9, but honestly, who gives a fuck? So we're continuing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in chronological order with Iron Man 2. Pretty cool steelbook. And this came out in 2010, so there was a year break or a year where they weren't making movies or they didn't release a film. So there was Iron Man, Incredible Hulk in 2008, and then after 2 years they returned. And this is kind of the beginning of a cycle leading up to the Avengers. I feel like Iron Man was testing the water, and then in the Incredible Hulk we had Iron Man in the post-credit scene kind of talking about there's an idea of putting a team together, obviously hinting at I guess there's also the post-credit scene in Iron Man, which we didn't watch. So we just watched it about 5-10 minutes ago, where Nick Fury is introduced, and I always thought, wow, I thought Sam Jackson was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the beginning, but didn't see him in Iron Man. Well, he's in the post-credit scene. Turns up at Stark's house and says, "There's this thing called the Avengers Initiative" or something like that. So it's kind of hinted at then, but from here on out, it's like Iron Man 2. Well, yeah, it's not even hinted at. It's just flat out boldly said and confirmed. But Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, then the Avengers. It's like a real kind of tightly packed, they all came out within 2 years, those four movies. So I do feel like the Incredible Hulk and Iron Man were kind of seeing if it was going to work and make money, and then charging forward with that four cycle of films that round out phase 1. So yeah, you can check out Iron Man 2. It's probably one of the most, I won't say hated, one of the most disliked, I guess. It's definitely in the lower end of most people's Marvel movies favorites, I think. A lot of people don't really like Mickey Rourke in it, and just generally thought it was a step down from the first film. I think I've seen it once or twice. I remember thinking it was enjoyable, nothing too memorable. I remember liking all the stuff with his dad, Howard Stark, but apart from that, yeah, just going to revisit it and see how it holds up. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll give our ratings for the past 3 films. If Connie can find it within her to come up with a simple number. She just threw a very vague thumbs up from the floor there. So, on with Iron Man 2 and the road to Avengers Endgame. Alright, we're done with Iron Man 2. 2 days later, we took another break after Connie got too tired, which at this point is probably just going to be such a regularity that I don't even need to mention it, but I think I'm wearing different clothes and so on. But yeah, we finished Iron Man 2, and one thing I wanted to mention before I forget, it seems like in these films so far, they weave in the comic book character's name into the story in a kind of like conversational way. Like in The Incredible Hulk, there's a couple of kids who filmed Hulk when he goes crazy on the university campus, and like, yeah, he was such big, like a Hulk, And then also when Abomination is introduced, he's like, he's an abomination. And then the end of Iron Man, obviously the press coined the term, and he's like, oh, I like that Iron Man. Not entirely accurate, not iron, but I like the sound of it. And then in this one, War Machine, Rhodes, at some point I think Tony says like, oh, what do you think, you're some sort of war machine or something like that, or are you going to be their war machine? Just wanted to mention that, and now that I have, I feel like there was no reason to mention it. It's not that interesting at all. What did you think of Iron Man 2 revisiting it? I will say, before I turn the camera to you, I've always thought this was like one of the weaker ones. It's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. I enjoyed it. I didn't think that Mickey Rourke was that bad.
No.
Why did I have that memory of it?
It's like a popular kind of, well, not popular, but like I think most people don't like it very much and think it's a really weak film.
People think that.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's generally considered to be one of the weaker ones, and I've always felt like it's one of the weaker ones. It's not great, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I loved the angle of, okay, now he's Iron Man. Now the military want to get involved.
I don't think it was that much worse or better or anything like that than the third one. The third one is kind of like as well, I think.
What do you mean?
Well, story wise, wise, um, uh, when it comes to Tony Stark and his story, it's more intriguing than the villain itself, I guess.
Okay.
It just feels. Let's just do something like that kind of thing. Like, what should we do with this Iron Man? Well, let's just throw this and this and this in there, and he's got PTSD. Oh yeah, that's good. But I don't know. It's just.
All right, well, we'll get to Iron Man 3 when we get to Iron Man
I know.
3.
I'm just saying. Like, I think maybe they're almost at the same level. But then again, I need to see it again. In what, 4 movies from now?
Yeah, exactly, 4 movies, yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say, really. I just really enjoyed it. I love Sam Rockwell. You know, he's always great, and he's really funny in this one as the leader of Hammer Industries. I love the scene in the
Hammer. Heroids.
Hammeroids. I love that scene when Tony is brought before, I guess, the government, and he's there, and Tony hacks into all like the data and shows a clip of him trying to make his own Iron Man suit, and it just twists around, and the guy is just like, and Sam Rockwell's like, I just wanted to be known the guy survived. And obviously he's trying to imitate and emulate the Tony Stark tech. And that's exactly what would happen. If someone were to create something like Tony Stark did in the first Iron Man movie, the whole world would want it. Though I would argue in the real world they would just take it. There'd be no asking. It would just be like the government would be like, we're taking that, thank you very much. But still, I like that element of the story. Then we have Mickey Rourke, who very much was a man of the time around this period. He just kind of had a renaissance with The Wrestler, which kind of brought his career back seemingly from the dead.
And then he went down to Magic Mike.
Down to Magic Mike. I haven't seen Magic Mike, but he did The Expendables shortly afterwards, and then this one. And he plays a Russian scientist, I guess you would say, whose father worked with Tony Stark's father. So I like that, but I felt like they could have gone even further into that whole backstory. I've always liked...
because I don't feel his need to,
Yeah, you understand it based on, what the story is, but I don't feel like his motivations are like, I don't know.
I think he does a convincing Russian.
Yeah.
Like, his accent isn't overly,
yes,
not
over the
and
top.
when he speaks Russian as well, it's very laid back and stuff, and he must have a good ear or something, because I'm not that I know Russian very well, but I don't feel like it doesn't fit him. It fits him.
Sure.
Suits him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I do get the motivations and all that kind of stuff. I think there could have been room to explore it further, considering he is the villain of the film. And I do think the final fight with Rhodes and Iron Man against him is really short. Like, I felt like, just compared to other ones, like, the whole fight seemed to be with all the drones more than him, and I felt like it could have been a bit better. But, it's cool he's got the whips and stuff, that's kind of, the Monaco scene is pretty cool, when he's, just slicing up the race cars. We get introduced to the mobile suit, which kind of comes in a suitcase, and now he can kind of just step into it, as opposed to having to be, bolted in.
It's funny how you say that you feel like his fight was shorter. Because when he stepped in, I was thinking, it's going to be a while now.
Right.
And then it wasn't. I'm like, that's a relief.
So you preferred that then?
Yeah, because I didn't really feel like watching any more fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Especially with him, because he already did that whole thing with the cars, and I was just thinking, it's just going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
He keeps open. I thought that his fight was bad.
Yeah.
Him in the suit, to me, was bad. He was better as the hacker and the tech guy, in a way.
Sure, yeah.
And that he controlled all the other droids.
Yeah.
But whenever he was in a suit, I was just like, it was good once. at the race car thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then seeing it again, I just felt like, no.
Mm.
You didn't see that he did any upgrades to it or anything like that. He just got like a suit.
And
other than that, it's just the whips again.
Yeah.
And he was really kicking their ass, and they do one move, and that's it.
Although they did set up that move very well earlier on when they fought inside the house.
Yeah, I get that.
Which
but
I liked.
he was just standing there like, huh? He's
I know.
smarter than that. He should have known something's coming up here. I gotta,
Yeah. And the fight scene between Tony and Rhodes was really good in his house, and the kind of
that was longer.
It was longer actually, a lot more involved, and a good sequence. And I liked how Tony, I feel like it would have been all too easy to go, okay, we've done Iron Man. He's an egotistical prick. He goes through some stuff, out in the Middle East, and he kind of realizes the error of his ways. And he comes back and he shuts down the weapons industry. He becomes Iron Man. He fights for good. And then the second movie is about him as a changed man. He's more of an egotistical prick than ever, and that feels so in line with his character. Like, he's loving being Iron Man. He, like the scene when he's at the expo and the helmet comes down, he's like, oh, it's me, like, it's just like, he's so funny at playing that sort of character and believable. And so
I think that is him.
Yeah, there has to be a little bit of that, if not quite a bit of that in him,
Well,
that
the way
really flows out.
interviews is kind of like that.
It is, yeah.
So.
And so I love that, and we get to see a bit more of him kind of going off the rails a bit. He's like slowly dying from poisoning, and he's trying to figure that out. So I like that. There's a nice little Easter egg where we had Captain America's shield. We get properly introduced to Nick Fury, and then also Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, who you forgot was even in this one.
Yeah.
And she's...
I forgot a lot of things that were in this movie.
Yeah. And she was good. She didn't have too much to do because most of the film she's like an assistant, or pretending to be an assistant, and then she gets one fight scene at the end of the film. I don't think did they even mention her backstory? Not really at all. No, I think that comes much later actually, in like the second Avengers film or something.
They did a little bit at the diner.
Sure, you're not much though.
Fury, no, just saying like that she's with Shield.
Yeah, and then the kind of the teasing of the Avengers initiative. Another tease to the next one, which is Thor, I believe, if not the next one after that, with Coulson going off to the desert. But regardless, it's all starting to flow together into building towards the Avengers. I like the storyline with Rhodes being like the second Iron Man, the War Machine, and how that kind of tested their friendship and stuff. And I really like, what's his name, Don Cheadle, who plays him. I think I enjoy him more as an actor than Terrence Howard, who portrayed him in the first film. Though the... how can I phrase this? I'm just buying time. The OCD-ness inside me doesn't like the fact that it's a different actor just because I like cohesiveness. Which is the same with Hulk, yeah, and Bruce Banner. But in the end, I think with both those characters, we ended up with a better, a better fit for both of those characters. And we see more from the Tony Pepper relationship that evolves equally as well as it did in the first film. I think I really like nothing seems rushed with those characters. I feel like they would have done that in the first movie, got them together. So I like that it really takes its time, and it does throughout the other films as well. Anything else, or anything you want to add in general, really?
Can't think of anything.
Yeah, there's not too much to talk about. It's really good. I really enjoyed revisiting it. Still not one of my favorites, I think, but not in a bad way. Yeah. We just haven't got too much to say about this one, and that's okay, I guess.
I'm kind of falling asleep a little bit.
Oh, really?
I'm really struggling.
I suppose all my droning on isn't helping.
Drone.
What was the Stan Lee cameo in this one? Oh, he was Larry King, which was so very short. Stan Lee.
I've seen almost.
I guess we talked about the one where he's Hugh Hefner, and in Incredible Hulk, he was a guy who drinks some blood. That was a drink that had a drop of Bruce Banner's blood in it. So maybe we'll just mention all the Stan Lee cameos, which are still ongoing. Apparently, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Stan Lee cameo in Captain Marvel, because I've heard what it is, and I think it's really fucking cool. So I'm excited for that one. And that's about it. Iron Man 2. Very good film. Enjoyed it very much. So, War Machine on the back there. And next one, I think, is Thor, if not Captain America. So we'll see you then. And thanks for watching. Oh, yes. Okay, so I forgot.
Why did I bring it?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned in one of the previous videos that you were drawing Robert Downey Jr. So why don't you show off?
And it just stopped there. I guess it's not that long ago since I finished.
Yeah, it's only been a few days, so if you want to try and... There we go.
It's a little lit up, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Is it?
I mean, it's not very good.
Hello.
I mean, it's not very good painting or drawing, but you know, it's the camera's picking it up at least.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's incredible.
Hey. I'm Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man. Oh, hey.
Okay, enough of that. I think you got to go to bed. But that's
Hey, haha.
I think it's a great portrait. I love it, and yeah, it'd be cool to see if you have the energy and motivation to do more as we go through this.
Oh, I hope so.
But yeah, so there we go. That's it. Thanks for watching.